Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, learning video number 4. I think it's number 4 anyway. I should learn these a bit better, shouldn't I? Okay, we're going to talk today about practice. Now, I said to you a few weeks ago, what's the secret to success? That was my first video. And the key thing about success, and we looked at it last week with Brazil, the football team, is 3 things. Practice, and I'm going to talk to you about that today, and also the coaching that you have if you want to get really good at something. And then finally, motivation. You've got to be motivated to do well. Those 3 things are the secret. So the secret is if you want to be good at anything, then those 3 things are really important. So today, the first one, we're going to look at how you practice. Now, practice is actually the most important of the 3. And the key thing is that when we practice, it's not so much about what you practice, it's how you practice. And you remember from last week how those Brazilian footballers, they discovered this other game, this football, in the Portuguese, sorry Mr. Da Costa, and that actually enables them to practice in a much better way because they practice the short ball control, and they are able to really get that myelin wrapping around their cells and their synapses in their brain so that the connection's really strong. And if you still don't believe me, if you still don't think that talent is something that you have to make with practice, certain type of coaching and motivation, then just what I want you to do is just to have a quick look at this list of words. I want you to have a good look at the list A, okay, have a good read through it, and I'm going to ask your form teacher now to pause the video, okay, just to press on the screen to click on it, and I want you to just to see how many, as a class, how many of those words, okay, you can see they've been up there for about 10 or 15 seconds now. If you press pause now, please, form teacher, how many of those words will you remember? Go. Okay, I wonder how many of those words you actually remembered. Now, it's quite simple there. I've taken the words off now. All right, let's just, look at that. And what I want you to do now is to just to think about how many of the words that you remembered. And now have a look at this list. Now this list is slightly different, as you can see, and I want you just to read those words. Now read them all, practice reading them. Okay, I'm going to give you the same amount of time and have a look at those words. Okay, the words have got off the screen, and I'd like your teacher now to pause the screen. How many can you remember? Go. Okay, there's the second one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you had to use different skills in the second group of words. He asked you for exactly the same task, but what I did was I actually changed the task to make it slightly harder, to actually bring about a practice that you're not used to, because I just took one of the words out of one of the letters out of one of the words, and that means that it actually took your brain that little bit longer to work it out. Now, because you put that little kick in, that little slight difference, I bet you any money you thought longer and harder about it and were able to remember more words out of the second column than you were out of the first column. And that's true of practice in general, because practice in general is all about actually making it a little bit harder than you normally would. There's no point in practicing something you're really good at, so what you do is you find out how to get to the next level and you make it slightly harder than you need it to be, and practice that, and you actually learn about 10 times faster. So the next time you sat in maths and or science or English and you can't understand something that the teacher's saying, or you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, I just don't understand what this is asking me, the harder you work at it then, and if you're actually successful, the more myelin you produce, and guess what? You're going to remember it, and you're going to remember it a lot easier, and it's the kind of thing that you'll pop into your brain again, and it becomes deep learning. Secret to deep learning, and we're going to go into this in a bit more detail next time. Deep practice, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to be done.